Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Path of Exile tutorial. So, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make predictions. We're going to talk about the future. And by that, of course, I mean 3.27. Spoiler season and whatnot is coming, and as far as we know, the League is going to be released this Halloween, October 31st. Now, the previous League, people had mixed feelings about it. Some thought it was the greatest thing ever. Some were just glad that it was not a year long like the last one. I personally thought it was quite enjoyable, but it was far from perfect. One thing that I did, however, really enjoy about it was the changes that were brought to King's March. Now, as most of you may know, King's March got a lot of changes, including to the different farming plots, no longer having bonuses, having a maximum level of 5 for your farmers, things of that nature. Also, yes, my farmers cost an obscene amount of gold, too lazy to roll for cheaper ones. But with that comes a high cost. As you can see here, I have a lot of people and they cost a lot of gold in order to keep them running. Now, as far as my actual ore bars, things like that, they're not costing me anything, don't have anything going. But the farmers themselves, they're costing me 15,000 gold per hour. This is a lot to sustain, especially early on in a league. Now, eventually, when you get through T16, 16.5s, and 17s, the gold income will be such that you don't really need to care. But what do you do about the beginning of the league? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, this league, GGG made many changes, but one of my favorite changes by far was Blight. Blight had its penalty to gold from the monsters just obliterated. It was completely removed, so monsters in Blight drop full gold as if they were regular mobs. This, combined with a few other changes, has made Blight one of, if not the best, single-player gold-generating methods in the game. The gold that you just saw from King's March there, plus another around 5,000 that I'd already used up, that was one Blight. And it wasn't even a really good one. Usually my Blights are 300,000 plus. That is pretty good. We're not doing that today. Today we are going to be doing a roughly league start version of the strategy. Now, I will make note that my tree does have all kinds of stuff you're not going to have at the league start. You're not going to have all of the Eater of Worlds. You're not going to have these extra strongbox nodes. You will probably rush all the way up to your favorite content of choice, getting maps, getting quantity, eventually getting the hat for more map effect, things of that nature. We're not going to remove any of the things that I've already put points into because frankly it's just a pain in the butt. What we are going to do is we're going to leave these nodes, which I have, which drop more maps. These are very common in a league start situation. We're going to leave this map effect for explicit modifier 1 on, but we are not running any crazy 8, 10, 12, 16 mod maps. We are going to leave these scarabs, but we're not counting the scarab. We don't care what we get for scarabs at all in this. All we care about is how much gold can we get, and how can we do it without actually any player power. So to that end, I do need to drop off 1 point here. We're going to take this one out to pick up Cassia's Pride. We are currently playing on my block Gladiator. The reason I'm on this build is because, at the moment, I have no damage. I took all of my Cast When Stunned, Fire Trap, Firestorm, everything out of the build. I've got some random garbage auras that don't do me any good. I have Tempest Shield giving me my spell block, and I have Anger and Petrified Blood. Anger does nothing for me. Technically speaking, Tempest Shield will do a tiny amount of damage, but I need the spell block, so it is what it is. And then I have Petrified Blood. I have 9,000 life. To make it more fair, I actually turned on Petrified Blood to lower my life. It was a lot easier than going through and actually trying to gut my own life. I do not have any sources of life gain on hit. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I do have a large amount of life regeneration, as you can see here, but if you're playing things like Chieftain and whatnot, early league, get to maps, 2,000 life regeneration, while a lot, is not an obscene amount. In order to remove that, I would have to remove a lot of tattoos. Again, it's just a pain in the butt. I am completely immune to ailments. This is on purpose. I am basically immune to stuns. I can be stunned, but if I'm stunned, it doesn't matter. But since I'm not doing any damage, don't have any cast when stunned, none of that matters. Yes, I have my Mage Blood on. I like my Quicksilver Flask. It's just so that I can move around quickly. In the actual Blight maps, you would probably be running a Quicksilver Flask with cast when charges get full, and be moving pretty close to as fast as I am moving right now, if not faster because of skills like Shield Charge, Leap Slam, you name it. So, onto the Blights themselves. Now, my Atlas tree is fully filled out. More or less. Don't ask. I have all the Blight nodes, and this is where I, on a new league start, would actually be rushing to. I would pick up all the Blight. I'd actually probably path this way, grab the Blight, grab the map nodes. I would not pick up Twist of Fate, pretend that doesn't exist, doesn't do anything for this because we're not doing a corrupted map. I pick up these nodes, and most importantly, I pick up Cassia's Pride. As you can see here, this causes you to deal less damage, and your minions to deal less damage. But that doesn't matter, because it gives you so your towers do 300% more damage. I am not sure if this applies to the damage from damage over time effects, but I would be surprised if it didn't. So, we are taking Scarab of the Blightheart. Blightheart Scarabs are cheap. I don't think these things rose more than a couple chaos all league long. I can't see a reason why this would change next league. They are the common Scarab. We are running a Scarab of Blooming. This is not necessarily something you will do on day 1, but by day 2, 3, 4, or 5, you should easily be able to get and sustain quite a few of these. We are using this because it's going to add unique bosses to it. Bosses, of course, give lots of loot. Most importantly, they give lots of gold, but also tier 14 plus Blight maps will drop as Blight Ravaged maps. Now, unfortunately, because of the Blightheart, we are not actually able to have a oil chest unless it is on the pump, so we will not get Blight maps from the Blight. Instead, what we will be doing when we unlock the ability to use this Scarab is we will replace our final sac frag, which we are currently using extras on, which I'll actually go ahead and remove too. We will replace this with the Scarab that gives increased number of maps dropped. That is the generic cartography Scarab seen here. We will get this, more map modifiers in affecting the map, more maps dropped. We'll put that in. Additionally, we could put in the cartography of the multitude. The problem with this is, despite what people think, the maps dropped by these monsters do not respect map tier. Maps dropped by the multitude can be tier 8, tier 7, tier 4, tier whatever. Yes, they will potentially be rolled upwards because they are being dropped in the map, so a tier 11 could be double up tiered into a tier 13, but there is no guarantee that that will happen. However, you can do this if you like to gamble a little bit, or if you want to use it instead of sac frag, especially once you upgrade your Atlas. We are running this node, the Fungal Horizons. When you complete the Blight, you get a 60-second buff that causes maps to have a chance to drop as blighted maps. I do not know, and I don't think it's written anywhere, what this chance is, but I know it's not a low chance, because when I go do this, I can easily leave a map with 20 or 30 blight maps, blight ravaged maps, whatever, it just depends on how quick you are. I don't have Solstice Vigil. If I did, that would make it last longer, but you get the idea. So, we will be going into the map. We don't do any damage. How are we going to actually kill the blight? Well, by day 2 or day 3, you have some damage. Enough that you could do regular blights in low tier maps, particularly if you are able to handle yellow or red tier maps. Do them in white tier maps with Blightheart, farm up some oils or some currency, and you want to get this thing. Your chilling towers freeze enemies for 0.2 seconds while they are affected by the beam. This ring will allow your tier 3 chilling tower to freeze all enemies that come into range of it, including bosses, as long as they are not immune to chilling towers, which I'll show you in the map. They are not immune to freeze, as a couple monsters can be, or you can have ailment immunity on your map, and as long as their action speed cannot be reduced below 0 is not on your map. Those 3 things will prevent this from working. On my other ring, which is again just a random unique that I have, your meteor towers create burning ground for 3 seconds on hit. This burning ground is a huge amount of damage because it is both AoE and it is not an ignite. You can still ignite enemies and they can be on this burning ground. The meteor itself does a high amount of impact damage, making it very good at killing uniques and rares, and then the burning ground will just help to deal with the mobs that have the energy shield, or not the energy shield, the barrier that prevents projectiles from hitting them, because burning ground does not count. It will still burn and destroy them. Very good stuff. So, we're going to go ahead and take this tier 16 canyon. This is just a regular canyon I ripped out of my stash. It does have extra strong boxes, but I'm not going to open any of them. We have taken off the Eater of Worlds. Those don't exist. We're going to pretend that they don't exist. And just these scarabs. I am level 91 on this particular character, but again, not using 5 of my points. No cluster jewels, just defensive stuff so that I don't die while I'm distracted talking to all of you. We are going to just run through here. We do not have a mercenary, as mercenaries are not going core just yet. They need to be tweaked a little bit. We are going to find the Cassia. We did get lucky in that none of the monsters seemed to have come this way, because we do not have a way to actually kill those monsters right now. Probably should have thought about that before doing this, but that's okay. So we have one lane, unfortunately, immune to freeze. Oh, and we have the star pattern, so we will actually probably not succeed on this particular blight, but we will try anyway. So lightning immune, unknown, lightning immune. Here's our freeze immune lane. Okay, so we need to put this tower here, this tower here, this tower here. Oh, we are going to unfortunately fail because these guys prevented us from getting the towers down. Okay, so we'll have to open up another one. Not a big deal. Normally you would have damage, you'd be able to push mobs back and kill stuff. I wasn't able to because those guys got in the way and blocked the fire tower. If the towers are being blocked out, obviously they're not able to do any damage. So we'll go ahead and start up another one. No big deal. Let's grab another random one here. Let's see, what's a good... You know what? Let's just do the usual. Let's do Toxic Sewer. Much easier for a beginning league. Let's do one that's not corrupted. Okay. Just throw some random chisels on it. Throw a random one of these on it. We do not have any of the mods that make it impossible to run. Okay. And that should do it. We don't have the blooming. That's fine. We don't need the blooming for this. Actually, since I do have to worry about that, we will take my Detonate Dead. Oh, I already have a Detonate Dead with me. Alright, let's see. There it is. Detonate Dead. And some Desecrate. There. I didn't realize I had those on me or I would have used them. Oh well. Alright, so once again, we'll go find Cassia. Clear out all the garbage mobs. More garbage mobs here. Anything this way? No. This way? Yes. Alright. That should do the same here real quick. Obviously, when you're running your maps, you would be killing everything on the way in, but we can't do that here. So, we'll start this up. We got a 2-lane, got no freeze immune lanes. Perfect. Alright, so we have pretty lousy layouts, but that is fine. We'll put a freeze tower here, fire tower here. We will put a freeze tower here and a fire tower here. Go ahead and upgrade the freeze towers to 2, fire tower to 2. Again, you would be doing damage yourself, so we'll just kill some stuff. And meteor tower. Now that lane can be ignored. Go ahead and get some more, so we can get another meteor tower here. Perfect, meteor tower. Okay. Now as you can see, the meteor towers here fire their meteors, create a burning ground, do all the damage that needs to happen, and you will just sit back, upgrade your towers. On a bigger map, you'll have more lanes, therefore more monsters to have to deal with. When you upgrade and get the blooming one, you'll be spawning 2 to 3 times as many monsters. And if you use the nodes on the tree that spawn 100% more non-unique monsters, you will fill up very quickly the screen with monsters. Having a source of explode can be very nice, so like things like Chieftain, for example, or Cultist if you are playing that build, or End later on into the league, anything like that. Even something as simple as Herald of Ash can be really good, because when the meteor hits and kills a mob, if it kills a just standard white tier mob or a magic mob, that overkill damage is going to be large from the impact. And so that explosion AoE will basically double dip the damage, helping you kill off the rares and the uniques. So as we can see here, it's killing stuff. I'm not doing a thing. This is not the greatest example in terms of gold because it is Toxic Sewer. You only get 2 to 3 lanes usually. But there we go. It went down. You would salvage these. I had 200 gold from before from killing stuff. We'll just grab all this. Random tier 17 map because of course. Open the garbage. That's all garbage. We don't care. And there, just like that, I got 6,000 gold. That is no blooming scarabs, no rarity items, no altars, a what? 4 mod map, I believe is what this is. Yeah, like a 4 or 5 mod map with map effect. That's it. That's all this had. So, as you can see, in and out, right? Like, boom, this map was done. I would now leave, or I would open up a portal and leave. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and that's half of an hour worth of gold for my King's March with all my tier 5 farmers. In the very beginning of a league, in the earliest days, you can very easily do 5, 10, maybe even more of those maps per hour, and as your build gets stronger, and as you get stronger, you'll start adding in all kinds of new stuff. You'll start adding in the Blooming Scarab to basically double the amount of monsters that are being spawned. It also has the added effect, if you've seen my other video, of causing the monsters that are spawned to more likely be magic or rare. We'll go ahead and grab another Blooming Scarab real quick, and we'll show this on one last map. Okay. So, we have a couple thousand gold. We'll go ahead and dump that. We have 2 sack frags. We'll get rid of 1. Blooming Scarab, Blight Harp Scarab, our Atlas. We've turned off all the other stuff. And to be fair, we will do it on a real map that people actually would do. Let's do City Square. We could do City Square. We could do Dunes. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll do Jungle Valley. Everybody likes Jungle Valley, except for me. But we'll do it anyway. So that, Alk, we got no mods that matter. It is a 4 mod map. That's pretty crappy, so whatever. Normally you would have altars. We're not going to have any altars for this, so no extra rewards. And away we go. Why can't I cast my Detonate Dead? There was no... Yeah. What's going on with my mana? These are reserving life. Oh, right. Right. I am casting it. Come on. Okay. Forgetting that you're a blood magic build. Pretty funny. You can tell I have not played on this character in a couple months. There's Cassia. Okay. Create some corpses, clear out all this garbage. Alright, some stuff here. The true early league experience. Alright, so we got 1,600 gold to start. So we'll take that out at the end. Perfect. Look at this. This is what you want to see. So we'll put one safety freeze tower at the base. We'll put one freeze tower here. We'll put a meteor tower right here. A trick I like to do is if we did have a freeze immune lane, I would actually do something like this. We'll put one here, here, put a freeze tower here. Just get rid of some extra stuff here. New freeze tower. Come on. Give me some more stuff. Thank you. Another freeze tower. Another explode. Alright, so we did get one back here. So now we have to actually deal with this. We're going to go ahead and put a freezing tower here. And we're going to upgrade it. Put another meteor tower. So the trick with the stunning towers and why I'm building them is even though I don't have any ring anointments to the stunning towers, a tier 3 stunning with a tier 3 empowering tower will stun lock just about any monster in the game. It doesn't do much damage, but it doesn't need to because they're frozen or stunned. And as long as they're frozen and stunned, the meteor towers can come in and destroy them. So we're going to go ahead and build some. I'm going to build a shocking tower here, a minion tower here. Turn that into a glacial. Turn this into this. The reason why we're building non-meteors here is because these will allow us to get extra gold and rewards from the towers themselves at the end of the Blight encounter. So you'll see me upgrade some of these towers in strange ways. Alright. Just run around now and wait for the meteors to do their thing. Alright, we're going to turn that into a stone tower. And this into a glacial cage. That should be all that I can do for, except for this one. We can change this powering tower. So we just sit here and we wait and we watch. As soon as these start to change color and change their icon, we'll know that those particular blight lanes are done, and we don't have to worry about them anymore. We'll try and speed this up a little bit with some Detonate Dead. Even without it being linked to anything, it still does a fair amount of damage. There we go. So those are all gone. Switch this to an imbuing tower. And we'll just go ahead and upgrade all these. There we go. So, 1,600 gold to start. We'll go ahead and salvage all these towers. one Blight Ravaged map. Yes, these salvaged ones can drop maps. They will be converted into blighted maps, and then the Scarab will turn them into Blight Ravaged maps. Unfortunately, the pump itself will not. We're not going to even pick that up. So we got some random Scarabs, a bunch of gold, 16.5 map, yippee, and a bunch of garbage, right? So, what did we get? 55,000 gold. This is a 4-mod tier 16 map with pretty crappy rolls on everything, to be honest. Like, it's not that good. We got one Blight Ravaged map. So, we'll go ahead and talk about the Blight Ravaged maps real quick, since we've got a few minutes. The whole purpose of doing this is, of course, to get gold, right? We started out with 1,000 gold, so we'll take that out of this, so we can say we got 54,000 gold from this one map. This map, if I wanted to call this complete right now, I could just leave, be gone, and we'll go ahead and hold Alt here so you can see the items that you don't see, since my filter culled them all. This is the loot from the map. Tons of scrolls, tons of gems, tons of items. A lot of it garbage. Most of it, I would argue, is garbage. But I mean, day 1, day 2, that's a lot of stuff. 40 portal scrolls. You don't need to buy portal scrolls until you get yourself a portal gem. Like, there you go. Perfect. Right? So, doing these maps, you're going to get a ton of gold. You're going to get to upgrade your King's March quickly, get your farmers going quickly, and as soon as you got your farmers going, you can start looking for the shipping guys, all the while building up your character's power level. As you can see here, look how much experience I have. I don't know exactly how much I gained from that, but I was pretty sure it's about half, and now I'm at like 80-something%. That's pretty good. 30% of level 90, pretty good. When you're level 85, that'd have probably been a whole level from just that blight. Unfortunately, I don't have the MTX that tells me how many uniques, rares, and magic monsters I killed, but again, these do force lanes to be, quote, unique lanes, and the way that this is supposed to work is the unique lanes spawn with more magic monsters, more rare monsters. So you get a ton more magic, rare, and thus gold from adding in blooming. Even without the blooming though, even running just regular blight hearts, 5, 10, maybe 15,000 gold, it's not terrible. Certainly not the first couple days. You can be running this, you can get oils, you can get scarabs, you can get items. And then you get the Blight Ravaged. Now, a fun little trick for newer players who go to do Blight Ravaged maps in the beginning of a league. You can anoint these things 3 times. So, Amber, to make it so that your towers cost next to nothing. And then let's say you do triple teal. This makes the map itself 150 seconds shorter. That's huge. That makes the encounter shorter, but it also makes the monsters spawn faster. As you can see, they spawn 90% faster. This means that you can set up lightning towers, meteor towers, chain explosions, because the maps are going to be so densely packed, the lanes are so densely packed, that the explosions and effects that you have will proliferate through them very easily. So you can do this, and then after you do this, you can do something like this, to give yourself a 135% increased experience modifier. Blight Ravaged monsters are always level 85. That is higher than tier 16. That is, well, I don't have a scroll on hand here, but that is these guys' level, right? That is actually tier 18 technically level. So the experience that you're going to gain, especially early league from a Blight Ravaged map, is going to be a lot. Later on in the league, after you no longer need the experience, or 90 something, whatever, you can come back through and you can replace it with these to force Blight Uniques. Now, a really cool thing about Blight Uniques, besides the massive increase in quantity and rarity, is they can drop the Blight unique items, which are worth a ton, almost all league. The boots are always worth something. The helmet is sometimes worth something, the gloves, the chest, but especially the amulet is worth a ton of money. But then they also, again, just drop a lot of extra gold and a lot of extra items. By being level 85 monsters, any magic monster that you kill is going to drop an item level 86 item. Rares, they're going to drop item level 87. So at the beginning of a league, I level 86 bases of tier 1, tier 2, so like things like warlock gloves, right? Things like these boots, helmet, witches circlets, those sell for 10, 20, 30 more chaos each. And I don't have the time to show you right now. You can check out one of my previous videos if you want to see it. Blight Ravaged maps drop entire inventories of these items. Back in a previous league when spine bows were all the rage and everybody wanted one, you could very easily get an entire stash tab, regular stash tab, full of spine bows and list them for 50C each, and people would buy them to recombinate and do all kinds of stuff with. So pay attention to what the meta shapes out to be, what people are expecting the meta to be, but even then, you can just pick up witches circlets, you can pick up the minion wands, you can pick up certain types of rings especially, and boots. You pick up a good pair of evasion boots that are level 86, identify them. Maybe you have spell suppression. You do? Congratulations, there's a divine. Anyway, I hope this helps you guys out in your 3.27, figuring out how to get gold, how to get a lot of items, a lot of currency, and a lot of early game power for your characters to propel you into your mid and late game adventures. If you guys enjoyed, feel free to leave a comment, let me know what you think. If you didn't enjoy, tell me what I can do better. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.